Yo, what up, guys? This is PBnJ. We got everyone here for this podcast. We're going to be doing our top 10 favorite movie scenes of all time. We've been wanting to do this one for a while, so we're all here today. So what's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I heard when I was away last month, I heard you guys talk about the like your favorite movies. So kind of sucked that I missed it. But today we're going to talk about our favorite movie scenes. So it will pretty much blend into like the list that I have for my favorite movies. It'll be brand new for everybody.
Yeah, we didn't get Brian's list. Patrick did his real fast for when we jumped on a little while ago too. So what we'll do is we'll have our top 10 favorites, and then we'll throw out some honorable mentions later. So this isn't, again, this is like our other list. This isn't the top 10 best movie scenes of all time, because those lists are out there. You can go online and look on those, and they'll have all the classic movies and stuff. You know, how a technically good scene is and the most influential scenes ever. So that's not our list. This is just our favorite. So we're going to have probably some goofy stuff on here. Just whatever came to what impacted us the most, I guess, when we saw it. So since there's four of us, we'll go around and we'll start off with number 10. Patrick, we'll see, what do you got for your number 10?
My number 10 will be Caveman. I don't know if you guys heard about this movie. It came out, I think it was possibly 1981 that this came out. It starred Ringo Starr and Shelley Long. Have you guys seen it?
I haven't even heard about it.
No, I haven't seen it. You've told me about it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, so in this movie, Caveman's basically this slapstick comedy. And like I said, it stars Ringo Starr and Shelley Long. And it's about a caveman played by Ringo Starr. His name is Atu. And he lusts after the leader of the caveman's woman. And then he gets banished by the leader. And then he joins a group of misfit cavemen. And together they all encounter all sorts of things. Like they first discover drugs. They invent fire, cooking, music, weapons. They also learn how to walk upright. So my favorite scene in the movie is when they first discover and invent music. So what happens is they're at this campfire. One of the cavemen starts to blow into a bowl, and it makes a noise. And then from that point on, all the other cavemen start joining in. So there's this one scene where this old man, he sticks his hand out into the fire and starts screaming. And so that ends up being part of the music. And then they start humming, and they create this music melody, and it's pretty funny. If you guys see the movie, you'll see on time it's really slapstick and really it's just really a dumb movie. But what's funny about it is there's a black guy in the group of misfits, and he has no rhythm. So out of everybody, the one black guy that's in the group has no rhythm. So there's an Asian guy in it, there's white people in it, there's gay people in it. It's the first of everything. That's what makes this movie so funny. So maybe you guys can take a look at it when you guys have time. You can see this scene on YouTube. It's pretty hilarious.
And you said it's slapsticky, kind of like the old Mel Brooks movies?
Yes. Yeah, it's just like that. They run away from dinosaurs. Like I said, there's this one scene in the movie where the leader of the group, he cracks his fellow caveman's back. So instead of being hunched over, they stand straight up. There's all sorts of little scenes like that. So the music scene in this particular movie is my favorite of everything.
That's cool. Yeah, you told me about it not too long ago, and I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it. But yeah, I like those old Mel Brooks movies, so I want to watch it. I want to give it. Those type of movies are always pretty funny.
Yeah, so that one is actually my number 10.
All right, cool. Brian, what's your number 10?
I thought we were not doing numbers, but if we are, I'm going to.
Well, it's not in a concrete order. It's just
okay.
Yeah.
So I want to, before I give my scene, I want to comment on what Jesse said the other time. He was saying like I probably like those game to movies, and I hate all of them. So I don't know what you're talking about.
It's called sarcasm.
I don't know. It sounded pretty serious, like you thought you knew me, kind of thing.
That was the reason why. If anybody knows you, you always complain about it. That was the reason why I said that.
Okay. Right. But yeah, if I was on the pod about the top movies, I would throw in one Disney movie. I mean, there's a few that I like, but my personal favorite is Aladdin. So my favorite scene is the famous one where he's no longer a street rat and he becomes Prince Ali, and he he has a flying carpet and he takes Jasmine on the carpet ride. So that's it.
What was that song? There's a really big song on that part.
A Whole New World.
Whole New World, yeah.
Yeah, and the guy who voiced Aladdin, he was the guy Steve from Full House. If you guys watch Full House, so I don't know if you guys know that or not.
No, I didn't.
The boyfriend?
I liked Aladdin. That was a good movie.
Yeah, the boyfriend from DJ's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? I had no idea. I had no idea that was him. So you want to see that new one, right? The one with Will Smith?
I don't know about. I don't know. Not 15.
What's that? Say that again, Pat?
I got to see the reviews first.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, me too.
I think the trailer will give me a good idea to whether the movie's gonna be good or not. So we'll see.
All right, so Brian right away with the Disney. We all should have seen that one coming.
Yeah, I'm just getting that one out of the way.
All right, Jesse, your turn.
Well, just like you said, these aren't in any orders. I'm just taking them out of the list. The only one that would be definite would be number one. So one of the ones I was thinking about is Air Force One. I don't know if you guys saw this movie, the Harrison Ford movie.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the one thing that I always like is when he's fighting in the plane and he tells him, "Get off my plane." That shit was a kick-ass move. I mean, Harrison Ford has a lot of kick-ass moments on his movies, but just that one, just like, "Get off my plane." Like, his voice is changed and everything.
How's it go? How's it go, Jesse?
"Get off my plane." I can't do the main voice, but, it was almost like that. Maybe in post-edit you can go to make my voice sound like, or do a voiceover. Put Harrison Ford over.
Yeah, I'll cut in the actual quote from the movie.
Exactly. Just cut mine out and just put "Get off my plane." But that shit was a bomb ass scene out of that whole movie.
No, I remember that movie. I saw that movie in the theater. You guys seen that one? You saw that one, Patrick?
Yeah, I saw it. I liked it.
Yeah, that movie's pretty.
You should take that off your list now. I know that you guys all had it on your list.
Yeah.
Number one. See.
I know. Sorry, I fucked that shit up. Sorry.
All right, so I guess it's my turn. So mine is the entire opening scene to Dark Knight.
Oh, okay.
When it's the whole bank scene where you see the group of guys, they're all in clown masks, and you see them all infiltrating a bank, and they're gonna rob a bank, and they have like this big real intricate plan, and as the plan going on, they start killing each other because they were told that if one guy killed the next guy, he'll get a bigger cut, and eventually it comes down to one clown left, and when he takes his mask off, it's actually the Joker. Man, that whole scene, like the way the music was, like it was all like real low and tense, and you didn't exactly know what was going on when that one when he puts off the mask and it's Heath Ledger, and it was just like, oh shit. And then the bus backs up into the bank after they take all the money, and he kills the driver and hops in and drives away, and then the bus went into the line of the other buses and totally just makes a clean getaway. Like, dude, like that movie, like Batman Begins was freaking dope. So I was already excited, and then seeing all the trailers and stuff for the new Dark Knight with Joker, and I already knew this was going to be awesome. And after that first scene, I was like, I could have left after that. Like, yeah, this is awesome. I could have just walked away. Like, that's how great that scene was. But I knew the movie was going to be dope no matter what after that scene. I was just like, this is going to be the best movie ever. And at the time, it was the best movie ever. So, yeah, the opening scene of Dark Knight, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, no, that was a really good. I remember that scene. That was a good one. That's my number 2, by the way. I gotta come up with different ones now.
You have to start using your honorable mentions.
All right, Patrick. Number 9.
Okay, my number 9. Did you guys watch Bridesmaids?
Yes.
The toilet humor scene.
Yeah. I don't know that.
Remember. So Annie decides to take all the bridesmaids to that suspect Brazilian barbecue for lunch. And then they go immediately after that to try on dresses, right? And so then they all realize they get food poisoning, and they start to get the run. So they all start running for the bathroom. Well, the funniest part in the entire movie for me is when Melissa McCarthy, which is one of the bridesmaids, runs to the toilet, but it's being occupied by one of the other bridesmaids. And then she starts screaming, "I need the toilet, I need the toilet." But she can't because the other bridesmaid was throwing up in it. So then she jumps on the vanity and starts to go number 2 in the sink and starts yelling, "Look away! Look away!" And then she's all like, "It's coming out like lava." Crying in the movie theater when that came out. It was so funny, dude.
It's kind of lava. Yeah, and the point
What's crazy about those scenes is you're laughing at the same time you're grossed out.
Yeah.
So you're just and just cracking up. Yeah, that was a funny scene.
I like how the bride runs out to the middle of the street and she just kind of like accepts her fate and is just pooping in the street.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what happened?
Oh man, yeah, that movie. I remember my sister had it on and she was like, "You guys gotta watch this. This movie's the funniest thing ever." And I remember watching it. I'm like, "Oh, it's all right. It's funny." But then that scene came on and I was busting up. I was like, "That's fucking funny." All right, Brian, what's your number 9?
Okay, so my number 9 is Scarface. So this one is pretty easy, I guess. It's like towards the end of the movie where he knows he's like at the end of the road for him, and he just brings out his machine gun and he says, like, "Say hello to my little friend," and just starts shooting. And at the end, he gets killed. But that was it was a famous line that he says. A lot of people quote it in movies and stuff. But pretty cool scene. And that movie's pretty good too.
Jesse, how's he say it?
I was gonna say, "Hey, fucking Brian, you say it."
So I messed it up. So you say it.
Say it, Jesse.
Oh wait.
Say hello to my
Say hello to my little friend.
Patrick, you do it. You had it right there.
Say hello to my little friend.
Oh, and how he always called everyone cockroaches. So that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. No, yeah, that scene's pretty epic. Cause considering that movie's so over the top, right? Super over the top, violent and stuff, and then he's all coked up. Like he had his face in a mountain of coke. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. The guys come in to kill him, and he just starts shooting everybody up, and he's getting shot like 100 times because he can't feel it because he's so high. He goes, "That's all you got? Is that all you got?" And that one guy is all cool, even with the glasses, and he comes from behind and he shoots him with a shotgun. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Hell, that's a good one, Brian. Scarface is the shit. All right, Jesse, what do you got?
See, I'm trying to figure out if I want to take one of your guys' number 1, or if I just want to go. Let's see. I'll go funny. Oh no, that's honorable mention. Okay, I'm gonna go with. I think me and you talked about this when we did the best movies that we saw on Terminator 2. I love the scene where Sarah Connor is being rescued by the T-100 and her son, and just the whole scene where she sees them, and it's like slow-mo, and Arnold's coming up to her, and she's like freaking out. Like, just that whole scene to me was like epic. I mean, there's a bunch of cool scenes in that movie, but that one is just like, wow. Like, she realizes that, her biggest fear is there. He's like, shit, he's come back. And in reality, he's there to rescue her. So, I like that scene.
No, that's a great directed scene. Like, she's running down the hall, and then she's trying to get away.
So, like, perfect timed and everything.
Yeah, then once he turns the corner, and she's like, fuck, and like, stops in her tracks, and she's gonna go the other way, and then John comes out, right? John sees her.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. Yeah, he's like, no, it's cool. And she's staring right at him, and then the line, right? "Come with me if you want to live."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like the signature line throughout the whole series.
Yeah, hell yeah. And that's when yeah, and then they're trying to get out of there in T-1000.
So you guys can scratch that out also.
Yeah.
Man, I loved all the original Terminator movies. Terminator and T2, man, those were good movies.
Yeah, it's funny because my number 9 is Terminator 2, but it's a different part. For me, is it's the chase scene when Arnold and John Connor are on the Harley, and the T-1000 is chasing them in the diesel truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one, that scene, man. Yeah, to this day, that's still one of my favorite car chase scenes in like any movie. Whenever I see a car chase
is that
scene,
the one where they're going in through the aqueducts or whatever.
Yeah, like going to like the LA River and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the T-100 was like reloading his shotgun by like just spinning it, right?
Yeah. He looks backwards, spins it, and shoots, and then spins it again. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Like it's dope because like John doesn't know. He's just trying to go on his little dirt bike, and he's just trying to get away. And then Arnold pulls up and just picks him up off the dirt bike with one hand and puts him on his bike. And the fucking T-1000 is coming from behind him in the big train, the big diesel truck. And then finally he goes off the LA River and just slams down on the ground. Yeah, and then he comes out. It's all on fire, and he comes out. He looks like the Silver Surfer when he comes walking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene is still one. Yeah, whenever I see a car chase scene or anything in any movie, I always compare it to that one, and I see how it stands up because that one's so good. It's pretty crazy considering how old that chase scene is now, but it still holds up.
If you watch it now, it's still just as good.
Still,
awesome.
Yeah, it's still super exciting. The only part that gets me is when Arnold, he's going off the ramp. Remember he does that jump in slow motion?
Yeah.
And you can totally tell it's a stuntman. It's not. You can tell it's not him. That part still makes me laugh every time I see it. I go, oh, there's stunt Arnold. He lands and keeps going. But that's my number 9, the chase scene from Terminator 2.
All right, so my number 8 is from Tombstone. It's the part where Doc Holliday takes the place of Wyatt Earp and meets Johnny Ringo for that gunfight, and he says the iconic line, "I'm your Huckleberry." You guys remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I love that line.
Yeah, so do you know where that came from? It's like this old American 19th century slang, and it means I'm the right man for the job. So basically he's saying, I'm the guy that's going to take you out. And that's actually the moment that Johnny Ringo really realizes that he met his match, and he knows he's not going to beat Doc Holliday. So that's the point in the scene where you also see fear in Johnny Ringo's face. But then Johnny Ringo tries to dissuade Holliday by saying the fight's not with you. Of course, it doesn't work, and then they start to fight. So then they start circling each other. It gets really intense. Johnny Ringo reaches for his gun, and then Doc Holliday shoots him in the head. And as Johnny Ringo's dying, Doc Holliday says, "You're no Daisy. You're no Daisy at all." And what's interesting about that, that's also 19th century American slang for best in class. So basically he's saying, you're not the best gunslinger. And in my opinion, this is Val Kilmer's best role.
Oh, yeah, hands down. Hands down, this is his best role. He does. I mean, yeah, he's cool. I mean, he's cool. And
like the Saint.
The Saint.
Saint.
What about Batman?
No. He tried. I give him an A for effort for Batman, but no, definitely Doc Holliday. I mean, he was good in Top Gun and stuff, but no, this was his role right here. Yeah. He actually was like good as an actor. Like his other movies, he's always just Mr. Cool, but this one he's actually, because like. You're like, oh, he's cool, he's badass, but at the same time, he's sick and he's dying, so you kind of feel bad for him at the same time. No, this is a good one. I like this one, Patrick. I'll be a Huckleberry.
Well, that movie just had a bunch of a good cast, and I think that's what it was. He played off the cast.
Yeah, you had Kurt Russell and Bill Paxton and Michael Biehn. And what was your favorite part in that movie, Patrick? You told me the other day.
Besides that one?
Yeah.
Besides I'm your Huckleberry scene? Oh, it's right after Wyatt Earp goes into the middle of the river and starts shooting all the cowboys.
Oh yeah, he's screaming no.
Yeah. After that, those two guys, what are they? I forgot who their characters' names. But the guys all, did you ever see anything like that? And the other guys all, hell, I never even heard anything like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Tombstone's sick. Man, I remember seeing that as a kid. I was like, this movie's crazy. Yeah, that's pretty sick. All right, Brian, what's your number 8?
Okay, so my number 8 is a Quentin Tarantino movie, Inglourious Bastards. So my scene is, I mean, there's a few scenes in there, but my favorite is the opening scene where the German soldier
Hans Landa.
Yeah, Hans Landa. He's in I guess he's in France somewhere, and he's trying to look for Jews, and he's trying to get this dairy farmer to reveal where they are. And he's super calm. He's just sitting at the dining table. To me, when I watched it, it was a very tense scene. Like there's so much pressure, from the family and everything, and you could feel I could feel it from the screen. So that was a really cool scene. I don't know if you guys got the same impact from that, or if you guys just watched it, and it was just like, or what do you guys think about it?
No, yeah, that one's no. You're right. It was super intense because you knew that he was messing with the farmer. Because the guy's just a farmer, and he's just like, oh, I don't know where the family's at, and they're under the floorboards. And Landa, like you said, he's just chill, and he even asked for some milk. and he has to smoke his pipe with the guy. Like, he's all cool, but you know he's screwing with them.
Yeah.
And you don't know what he's gonna do. And then finally he's like, I'm gonna kill your family. And the dude finally breaks and he points to he tells him too, like, don't even say anything, just point to where they're at. And he just points to the floor and they shoot him up, and then the one girl makes it, right, and she gets out of there. That's a great scene. I love Tarantino and I love that movie. But yeah, no, that's a great scene. Just what's Hans Landa, his real name? I forget his real name.
Christoph Waltz.
Christoph Waltz. Yeah, I mean that he won the Oscar for that role. Yeah, man, he did a great job. That scene was super intense, and that was a great way to start the movie.
Yeah, it was very intense. Like you said, it's just like, holy shit, what is he gonna give it up? Is he gonna give it up? Like you said, the guy just knew he had him. He was just playing with him, and it was just like you said, Tarantino did a really good job with that scene. Like, I mean, you kind of already knew he's gonna have to give him up, and I would have given him up. I would have been like, they're right there, motherfuckers. Yeah. They're right there. He's like, give me the gun, I'll shoot him.
Well, and he also showed off like he can speak multiple languages, right? Like he went from German to French and then to English. So yeah, so that was really cool. Like just that whole scene was awesome.
Edge of my seat when I saw that. I knew they were gonna die. I knew it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite villains, recent villains in movies in the last 10 years or so. It's Hans Landa.
What about the end of the movie though, when like the Germans lose the war and he's just like, hey, I was just doing my job kind of thing. Like, did that take anything away from that character to you, or you're fine with it?
No, I was fine with it because he was basically like, hey, look, I know we're gonna lose. Hitler can't win this, so let's make a deal. And he survived, right?
He's a survivor.
Yeah, he's a survivor. So
that's how he was. He was just a survivor.
So he makes a deal, and then part of the deal that wasn't part of the deal was when Brad Pitt carves a swastika into his head. But he was just like, he was smart. He's a smart guy, so he's smart enough to know he was on the losing side, so he made a deal and he switched. Yeah, great villain. I love that movie. All right, so we're at number 8, right, Jesse? That's it, you?
Yeah. The next one, same movie. There's kind of two really great scenes that I think so, but I'm just gonna pick one so I don't take somebody else's, just in case they chose it. The scene where you know the T-Rex is coming when the electricity's out. Just the whole scene with a T-Rex where the water, when you see the water vibrating in the cup and everything. The whole drama in that whole scene, the attack. Even after the guy runs out of the car. He's a dick. He runs out of the car. He leaves the kids alone. Yeah. He goes to the bathroom, and the T-Rex still gets him. So it's kind of like, well, fuck you. That's what happens when you fucking leave the kids alone.
Yeah.
But just that whole scene was just like, holy shit. Like, it was just exciting and loud. Like, if you hear that, like, in a nice stereo system, you just hear the bass, when he's coming by and everything. I'm just like,
yeah, the footprint, the footsteps, right?
I have a stereo system and my house, and it was like, holy shit, this is a cool scene.
Yeah, when the footsteps are hitting, boom,
yeah,
boom, and you're like, what the fuck?
Just like so many parts to that scene. Like Steven Spielberg did such a good. I mean, like I said, the whole movie was good. It was like he did a really good job based off the book, but that scene itself, like you said, I could have walked out of the movie theater and was like, oh, that was a great movie. It was a great dinosaur movie. That was it. It's like, I get the point. Okay, we shouldn't have fucked with nature. Nature wins. Well, I get it.
All right, so my number 8 is from Unforgiven, and it's the final scene when William Money confronts Little Bill in the saloon. You guys seen Unforgiven?
Yes.
Yeah, what makes that scene so great is the whole movie he had changed his ways, and he was always talking about he was a killer and he was a drinker and all that stuff, and he refused to partake in any alcohol or the women, nothing. He was on a straight and narrow. He was just gonna do this job, get paid, and go home to his kids. And the scene before this is when they tell him that they killed Morgan Freeman, they kill his friend, and he takes the whiskey from the kid. Remember that? And he just starts drinking. Yeah. And he starts drinking. You're like, and I remember watching it going, oh shit. And then he goes to the saloon where they had his friend up in a coffin, and they put a sign on him, and they had him up on display pretty much. So he goes in there, and it's William Money and like the sheriffs and like the local posse. And there's like 20 dudes, and he kills all of them. And it's crazy because it's not like some superhero. There wasn't like he wasn't doing superpowers or nothing. He just fucking just shot them all. They were all shooting at him, and he ducked, got on his knee, and just one by one, boom, 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 just picked them all off. After he kills everybody, he gets up and he walks over, pours himself a drink, and Little Bill, who's played by Patrick. Who was it? What's his name? Gene Hackman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's played by Gene Hackman. He's dying on the floor. He slowly reaches for a gun, and it looks like he might shoot Clint Eastwood, and he doesn't. Clint Eastwood just puts his foot on him, and he points the gun at him, and Little Bill goes, "I'll see you in hell, William Money," and he just goes, "Yeah," boom, and shoots his head off.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just like, when I saw it for the first time about 10 years ago. Oh man,
that's your number one Western too.
that's my number one. Yeah, it was on my favorite movie. It was my number one Western, and that's the movie that right there is what did it. I was like, this is it. This is the best Western. Nothing can top this. Yeah, and then afterwards he leaves the saloon and he yells at everyone else, like all the other sheriff or deputies in the town, or anyone who's in the town who can hear him. He just yells out, "I'm gonna leave. Anyone takes a shot, I'm coming back. I'm killing you. I'm killing your family. I'm killing your neighbors. I'm killing your dogs." You can see that the guys are just like, as he's walking away, they're talking to each other like, "Hey man, like shoot him. He's not looking." And they're like, "No, you shoot him." And they were so scared that they didn't even take a shot. He wasn't even looking at them. Back was towards them, and they just all just let him leave. That's how much fear he had in the town after that. Such a great scene.
Yeah, that's because they know if they miss, they're dead.
They're dead, yeah. So he would rather not take the shot. They just said, "Nope, just let him go. He killed our boss. He killed a bunch of people. That's fine. I'm not dying." Yeah, that's a great way to finish that movie. Like that movie was so good until then, and then a great ending. Oh man, yeah, the final battle scene in Unforgiven. That's my my number 8.
Cool, it's a good one.
Yeah. So Patrick, what's your number 7?
Okay, this is from Liar Liar. Do you guys remember Liar Liar?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's when Jim Carrey, he plays an attorney, and he's always dishonest, and he always breaks his promises to his son Max. So on Max's birthday, he wishes that his dad can't lie for 24 hours. And so the scene that I love most is when he first discovers that he can't lie, and he goes to his office. He tries to create this little test for himself to prove that he can still lie. So he tries to make the blue pen, and he tries to make it say that it's red. Since he can't say the word red because it's blue, he gets another idea and tries to make the blue pen bright red. So then he starts to struggle with the blue pen, and then the pen, he holds it in his hand and it turns on him and starts fighting him.
Yeah.
And then he falls behind the desk, and then there's this struggle, and then when he emerges from the back of the desk, his whole face is covered with the word blue all over it.
Yeah.
That part right there sold me on the whole movie. And there are a lot of good lines in that one, but that one's the funniest to me.
Yeah, and then doesn't like his secretary come in, and she's like, "Oh my god, what happened?" And he's like, "The damn pen's blue." He can't.
Right.
No, yeah, that.
I think that movie was like one of his better performances in like comedy style. That and Ace Ventura. It's just, I mean, of course, I guess you could say he was typecast at the beginning, but that kind of was what he was, and he was able to portray that really, really good in that freaking movie.
Oh yeah, you couldn't top the Jim Carrey in the 90s. Man, no, man, he was so funny in that role. Like, yeah, when the pen looks at him like it's an animal, and he goes like,
yeah, this is reactions,
yeah,
facial expressions, everything. It was on point.
I don't think anybody else could have pulled that off. Not like that. It would have came off looking really dumb and cheesy, but man, that was so funny. All right, Brian, what's your number 7?
Okay, my number 7 is it's a comedy. It's from the movie Office Space. So that movie has a bunch of pretty good funny scenes and funny lines in there too. But my favorite was when the guys at the office, like Peter Gibbons, Samir, and Michael Bolton, those guys.
Michael Bolton.
Yeah. They've always had trouble with the Xerox machine. So when they started like cheating the system and started shaving off like a quarter of a penny from the stock, they took it. They finally just had enough of the copier and they took it out into the like a field somewhere and they just beat the crap out of it.
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny. I mean, there's tons of other funny lines in there, but that one to me was the best scene, like in terms of like comedy wise.
And it doesn't like Michael Bolton, though. They have to pull him off of it because he won't stop hitting it.
They're like, they're all beating it up like they're tough guys, but they're all nerds. You know? That made it even more funny.
Yeah, and like Peter Gibbons, he's like walking around like he's the mob boss or something. And they have a baseball bat and they're beating it up. Oh,
what's funny is the song.
Oh,
the sound in the background. It's all gangster.
Yeah. Do you remember which one it was? I don't remember.
No, but I just it wasn't like a popular song, but it was just the whole song. It almost sounds like an Ice-T song.
Yeah, like some gangster ass.
Yeah, and like you said, it was just funny because you could have imagined that movie like in New Jack City or something where they're beating the shit out of somebody, but here you go, you have three nerds beating the shit out of a copier.
That movie's classic.
And you know what's so funny? I used to have that stapler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had the red stapler. I always had it hanging on my desk.
What'd you do with it?
I still have it. I actually have it in a box somewhere.
I gotta bust that out. All right, Jesse, what's your number 7?
Okay, so my number 7 was Goodfellas.
Okay.
And I'm gonna read you. I went to IMDb and I got the quote. So this is the scene. I'm not gonna say it in their voice because I'm not Italian or anything, but you've seen the movie. So it starts off. The young guy, you're a pistol, you're really funny. Then Tommy DeVito, which is Pesci's character, says, what do you mean I'm funny? The other guy says, it's funny, it's a good story, it's funny, you're a funny guy. Tommy DeVito, what do you mean? You mean the way I talk? What? It's just, you're funny. It's funny, the way you tell the story and everything. Tommy gets quiet and he says, funny how? What's funny about it? Tommy, no, you got it all wrong. Oh, no, Anthony, he's a big boy. He knows what he just said. What did you just say? Funny how? Just, you're funny. And this is the line. It says, you mean, let me understand this, because, maybe it's me. I'm a little fucked up. Maybe I'm funny. How do I mean funny? Like, I'm a clown? I amuse you? I make you laugh? I'm here to fucking amuse you? What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny? Just, how you tell the story. What? No, I don't know you said it. Sorry, no, I don't know. You said it. How do I know? You said I'm funny. How the fuck am I funny? What the fuck is so funny about me? Tell me what's funny. and that's when they start laughing and everything. Just that whole scene. The kid because Tommy DeVito is just a fucking nut.
Yeah.
And that kid is really serious thinking, oh shit, this guy's gonna fucking shit the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that scene is just, obviously Goodfellas is a fully rounded funny movie, but just that scene is, to me, the funniest shit in that movie. It's just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
I really thought that kid was gonna eat it.
Yeah. That's the thing. Joe Pesci was so crazy that you're like, he's gonna fucking kill him.
Yeah.
Then he's like, no, I'm just kidding. But it's like, oh, you don't know. It's super, like, you're reading it and like the dialogue's really like, kind of goofy, kind of funny. But when you're watching it, it's like super tense. Because you don't know, like, this guy, he might shoot him. Like, right now, he might just shoot him. And he doesn't, but, man.
Everybody there, like, they're like, calm down, dude. Like, calm down. Like,
yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. He's like, no, let him explain. He's a big boy. I was like, oh, shit.
No, that's a classic Joe Pesci right there.
Yeah, and it's kind of, you almost want to tell the kid, shut the fuck up. Anything else, just like, just run, motherfucker, run. Because if not, he's going to come after you with a bat or something. So yeah, that was a great scene there.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it. See, we should have had you read it.
Yeah.
You would have been able to get away with it.
I thought you were gonna read the line for the rest of the movie.
It's not my fault. I didn't fucking write the dialogue.
Oh man, no, yeah, that's classic right there. Yeah, I love that scene.
Don't worry,
man. I love that whole movie.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a really good movie.
Yeah, we were saying before, like, if it's on TV, like, I'll sit and watch it every time.
Yeah, but it's got to have the cursing.
yeah. I'm not gonna watch it on TNT.
Yeah.
All right, so that goes to mine. My next one, my number 7, is from Aliens, and the scene that I'm talking about is the first time they run into the actual aliens. I don't know if you guys remember that part when the Marines they land onto the colony and they're following they're telling them where to go. They see on the screen where all the readings are of where all the colonists are at. So they're heading towards to where they're just walking inside the building. What made it cool is that the whole movie they built up the Marines. Like you see them all, they're all just badasses. Like you had Drake and Corporal Hicks and Bishop and Hudson with Bill Paxton and what's it, Vasquez, right? They're all just badass Marines. They have these huge guns. And when they tell them beforehand, oh, we're gonna run into xenomorphs and they're like, whatever, we kill bugs all the time. Like they don't even care. And they go into this compound and they need to find the colonists. And as they get in there, it gets really dark. And then like you start seeing that weird crap on the walls, and they're like, what the fuck? What is it? And then there's goop everywhere, and it starts getting all weird, and they're like, what the hell is this? And they walk right into a nest of aliens, and the aliens just wipe them out. They just wreck them. Like, it goes from being like a group of like 10 Marines down to 5 in like one shot, and he like the biggest, baddest dude. You guys remember Drake? He was that big white dude. He had he had that gun that was mounted on his waist. It was so big. And he gets wrecked, and he was like the baddest guy. And then they take him out of the acid. They shoot the alien. The acid gets on his face, and he dies. And one dude falls off the stairwell, and then they have the bag full of ammunition that explodes, and they just get killed. And Sergeant Apone, the guy with the cigar in his mouth, he gets killed, and they just get their asses kicked. The corporal, what's his name, Gorman? Remember that the guy was a putz. He's watching the whole thing in the back in the van, and he doesn't know what to do. So Ripley, because she's badass, she takes the vehicle herself, the armored vehicle, and drives it into she wrecks the wall and gets in there, and then she was able to save all the other Marines, which is only like 5 left. Close it up, and they get out of there. When they're driving away in the vehicle, and then they'd say send the plane or send the ship, and they're gonna send another ship to pick them up. And there's an alien on that ship, and that ship wrecks and lands and takes out damages their vehicle and stuff, and they're walking around, just fire everywhere, and they're just walking around like, what the hell just happened? And that's when you realize like they're fucked. They just ran into the aliens, thought they were just gonna come in and out and whatever, and they just got wrecked by. And then you also saw that there was like hundreds of aliens now, right? Yeah, great scene, because I just set up the rest of the movie to now they went from being fully armed, fully stocked badasses to like now they got nothing, and they got to figure out a way to get out of there before these aliens get them. And that scene led to the famous Bill Paxton, game over, man. Game over. We just got our asses kicked. Oh man, love that scene. It was just the way that cameraman built the tension up, and then the aliens came out and just wiped the floor with these Marines, and they had no chance. They had no chance against those aliens.
When Vasquez heard there was aliens, she thought it was illegal aliens,
and so she signed up.
It's a good movie, man. Aliens. That's my favorite Aliens.
Oh man, that was so Bill Paxton was the shit in that movie. Funny.
And it's so funny because, like you said, these are like tough ass Marines throughout the beginning. They're like, dude, like, are you pumping adrenaline and stuff? Like, they're all badass, like you said. And then it's fucking, Ripley. Ripley's the one that fucking saves them. And at the end, she's like kick ass. She beats the shit out of the alien queen and everything. It's all her when it's like, you would have thought, oh, yeah, no, it's the Marines. The Marines are going to fuck everybody up.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's always Ripley.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it just shows when he says, game over, man. Like, you just... instant PTSD right there.
Right. Yeah, it was tough. It was between this scene and the final scene when Ripley gets in the power loader and fights the queen. Oh, it was tough. It was between this scene or that scene. But I like this scene because this scene kind of sets the tone for the rest of the movie. It kind of sets up the last half of it, where that last scene though is freaking great. Where that just shows, and I mean that's why I love Ripley and I love Sigourney Weaver. Is like 10-foot tall alien queen, whatever. Just get in the power loader. Let's go. Let's do this. And then get away from her, you bitch.
Yeah.
When the queen was going after Newt. Oh, it's a great movie. But yeah, that's my number 7 is the first battle scene. All right, Patrick, what's your number 6?
Okay, it's a recent movie actually. Did you guys watch La La Land with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone?
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm waiting for it to go on HBO, and it will next week. Actually, this weekend, so I'll watch it then.
Have you seen it?
Are there any nude scenes?
You haven't seen it either, Jesse? I thought you liked Emma Stone.
I love Emma Stone, but if she's not nude, and it's a musical, so
How can I talk about a movie that you guys haven't even seen?
because our audience might have.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Do you know what it's about, really?
It's a musical, right?
They're singing and dancing, right?
There was this tap dancing scene, and they tap danced, and I liked it.
Anyway, Brian, what's your numbers?
That sounds like Frank Sinatra movie.
Oh my gosh, there's a scene at the end of the movie, right? What the movie's really about? It's about this guy that likes jazz music. He wants to open up his own club, and Emma Stone's character, she wants to be an actress. So they fall in love, but the movie, what it's really about, is about sacrificing love for your dreams. Okay, so she ends up going and does a movie. She leaves. She goes to France to shoot this movie, and then she meets this other guy that you don't know about. You just realize it because 5 years later, she comes back, and her and her husband want to get something to eat. Okay, so they stop somewhere in Hollywood, and they start walking, and there's a jazz club that's open. And the jazz club is her former boyfriend, that guy that she was dating earlier on. And so she hears the music, and she looks at him, and then he starts playing the song. And once you guys see the movie, you'll see what song I'm talking about. So as the song is playing, it reverts back to the original scene, and you see the whole movie over again from her point of view, the way that she wished that it was, the way that her life went. And it includes him in this scene. It's the epilogue scene. It's just amazing how the director came up with this scene. So basically, the movie starts off, and it goes through her whole life. They both reach their dreams, but they give up each other. And I can't get this movie. I watched this. I watched that epilogue scene so many times on YouTube. Because it's amazing. You realize that you have to give stuff up for your dreams, and it impacts me so much because this has happened to me. Because the scenes in that movie are exactly how it is for an actor, and I know that you guys don't know anything about the movie. When you see it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So anyway, that's my favorite scene. It's the epilogue scene in La La Land.
I don't know.
That sounds sad, man.
Anything for Emma Stone. I have Emma Stone. I'm done. There's nothing else.
That's what I'm saying. How could you not have seen that movie, man?
I haven't seen all her movies. I could say. I mean, I've seen like 80% of her movies, and obviously La La Land. I'll wait till they make a remake.
You know that. This was at the Oscars. You know they won, and then they retracted.
I know.
And then they retracted it, and they gave it to Moonlight.
Yeah, that's messed up. That's fucked up.
Did you know about that? You didn't know about that?
Oh, that's right. That's the one. That was the one that was like an awkward moment up there with what was his name?
Was it Warren Beatty?
Yeah, because they thought he was drunk, right?
Yeah, and they just gave him the wrong envelope.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I guess he was confused. And then you could see it, and then he read the best movie would be La La Land. And then after they gave their acceptance speech, somebody came up and said, "No, you guys didn't win. It was actually Moonlight that won."
That's messed up.
So I haven't seen La La Land yet, but I don't think Moonlight should have been the best picture.
No, I think that the number one movie was La La Land, but Hacksaw Ridge, probably to me, could have been second because I saw all the movies. Those are my two favorite: Hacksaw Ridge and La La Land.
I did see Hacksaw Ridge. That movie's amazing.
Wasn't there another movie up there, Lion or something?
I don't think was Lion in there. Lion was good, but I
don't remember.
I was dating a girl, and at the time she was all mad because like, how did they even get nominated when there's like Lion or something? I don't know. I just remember that. That's why I was like, oh, well, it's a musical. I don't know if I'm going to see it right away.
Well, Lion was good. Did you guys watch Lion?
No.
Somebody told me it was really good, but no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Yeah, it's on my to-do list.
All right, Brian, you're up. What's your number 6?
Okay, so my number 6 is Rocky 4. So it's not the scene where Drago kills Apollo Creed, but you know that line where
If he dies, he dies.
he dies. That was pretty awesome.
I must take you.
But my favorite scene is the whole the training montage. Drago has like all the state of the art Russian technology. He's like everything's getting measured, and they keep cutting back and forth with Rocky, and where he's training out in the snow, he's pulling a sled, he's doing all the manual type of training, whereas the Russian boxer, he has all the high tech stuff. I guess like Rocky in all his movies, it's all about him having, I guess the right word is like he's a fighter, right? Like anyone else, they would have just got beaten up and they would just stay down. But he always he's fighting to avenge Apollo Creed, his friend, and the best way he knew how was to train out in the snow. Whereas in the other movies, he would train like the first one, he would train in Philadelphia, and then there's other one where he would train on the beach and stuff. So this one, he's training in the snow. Everything's a lot harder. He's running through the snow and everything. So I really like that montage. It's really cool. But looking at it now, like all the cheesy technology stuff that they were showing on the Russian side was really stupid.
Yeah.
There's that one part where he's like
steroids too.
inside the lab.
Yeah. Yeah, he just straight up. They just inject him with steroids.
Yeah, they just inject him with steroids. He's punching things, and everything's getting measured on the computer.
Yeah.
And they keep panning over to his Russian wife, like that's all serious and stuff. Yeah, that was my favorite scene from that movie.
And wasn't Drago's wife Rocky's wife in real life?
Yeah.
Bridget Nielsen?
Yeah. That was.
I heard in Rocky 25, he's got CTE.
Yeah.
Shit, thanks for ruining it for me.
Have you guys watched Apollo or no?
No.
I have.
Creed, right?
Creed.
Yeah.
Is
The
it
one
not?
about the sun, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah, I
should
liked it.
definitely watch it.
Yeah, I want to because that director, he's the guy who's doing Black Panther. So
Good.
Yeah.
I like Creed.
yeah, so I want to check it out before Black Panther comes out.
Yeah, like there's 3 fights in that movie, and they're all shot very well. So you should check it out. Like check it out before Black Panther comes out.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was thinking, oh, another cheesy Rocky movie. But no, he did a really good job.
All right, Jesse, what's your number 6?
I will go ahead and pick a big one. I'm going to go ahead and say Star Wars. When he tells him, I am your father. I think that whole scene is just like epic in the whole series. It's just like, holy shit. It's a big pivotal moment, and it changes a lot. I mean, of course, he's like, no, and then, he falls down, and, they save him, and then he's like in depression mode. So, I mean, I think that's huge, and like the whole series. I mean, it's bigger than when he finds out that, Leia's his sister, and he was, having the hots for her for a little while and all that.
Yeah, I mean, that scene, I mean, that sets up the whole movies, right? Everything revolves around that.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, and technically, I mean, without that, I mean, would we have had our second trilogy? Because then if there's a backstory to who he is, and that he's the father of both Leia and Luke, and I mean, it's huge, and it obviously continues to the 7, 8, 9 because obviously it's a lineage, it's obviously the force is strong in the family and all that, and it's kind of like a family novella, after that. It's based on the whole family line,
right?
So it's just crazy, and obviously with him being Luke's father, that makes him turn against the Emperor at the end, because he was very loyal to the Emperor, and because of that sense of love for his son, he decides to go against it. So yeah, I mean, that scene causes like all of that. I mean, I that's my opinion.
Yeah,
I really, obviously, Star Wars, I love it. Jesse, have you ever watched Flash, the series?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So, you know how Mark Hamill's the trickster?
Yeah.
So, remember there was another trickster in there, and then he was sent to, I guess, jail or prison, and then he freed him, and then he said, "Do you know why I freed you?" Did you see that scene? Did you guys see that scene? Well, so the other trickster asks him, "Why? Why did you free me?" And then Mark Hamill says, "Because I am your father."
Oh, I remember that. I remember it's like, oh, that's cheesy.
Dude, we waited like 30 years to say that line. Luke Skywalker said, "You have the best line ever, Vader," and I'm gonna say it one day.
I mean, and you can just tell anybody like who's seen popular culture movies and said, "I am your father," and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's Star Wars." They might not remember which one, whether it's Star Wars 1, 2, 3, or whatever, but they'll know that it's one of the biggest scenes, and not just that. You hear it in that voice, and the Darth Vader voice, and the James Earl Jones voice. It's just exact. It's so strong. I think it's. I would have put that as my number one, but I think I have another better one.
I like the.
That's from Empire Strikes Back. That was good. That was a good scene.
I like on The Simpsons when they do the flashback when Homer went to go see it with Marge. And
he walks out of the theater and he just gives away the.
Yeah. He's like, "Wow, who would have thought Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father?" And everyone in line, oh. That's the best.
Ruin her. That's why.
Yeah, so I was gonna say so when I watched the original 3 Star Wars movie, I watched them after they were out on video. So for those people who watched it in the theater, it must have been like a crazy cliffhanger, right? There were so many things happening when that movie ended, and you have to wait 3 years to find out what happened. So.
Oh, I know that, man. 3 years, fuck that.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, but when I saw it, I was 8 when I saw it, and you don't think, oh, when's the next one coming out? That didn't go through my mind once. I came out there going like, that was awesome. That was the greatest movie ever. That's it. Because you don't know. You don't think about, oh, these are actors. They're making another movie. You don't think like that. You're just like, that was the greatest movie. I can't believe that it's his father. I can't believe it. I remember there was a collective gasp in the theater because nobody knew. That's why Star Wars is the best ever. Ever.
And there were no social media to give out spoilers.
Right, yeah, exactly. It wouldn't have spread like wildfire like it would today.
Like a lot of people, I know a lot of the kids, they like, what is it, Episode 7? But it's nothing compared to the originals. Come on. Like Kylo Ren, come on. He's playing dress-up doll. Come on.
He's a wannabe Vader.
Why is he wearing the mask? Oh, I don't want to get on this topic.
All right, let's move on before Patrick gets crazy. All right, so my number 6, pretty important, I guess, in the Marvel universe, and that's the first time we see Tony Stark in the Iron Man suit when he flies back to the Middle East. Remember, and he fights all the terrorists. Because you saw him when he was trapped in the cave, and he makes the Mark 1, which is just all the metal and scrap he puts together, and he flies away. And then you see him back at in Malibu, and he's building the suits, but they're not painted or anything. They're all still just the metal color. And then he was kind of like flying in the garage and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forgot what country it was in, but it was where the 10 rings are at when they're all there and they're like, pushing the people around and stuff, and then you hear like something coming, and they're like, what is that? And then he comes and lands, boom, and he stands up in the armor, and it's like, oh shit, there's Iron Man. There he is, he's here. And then he just jacks them all up, and he shows off all his Iron Man, all the tech in the suit, and he just takes out all the terrorists in the town, and then just flies away. Like that scene. What's that?
Isn't that the scene where in his mask it shows where everybody is, and then he targets them and he shoots them all at the same time?
Yeah, he shoots off his wrist, and he just goes like, bah, and he hits like 10 guys at once.
Yeah.
Oh man, and then he shoots, and then the tank shoots at him, and he just moves out. He just kind of moves, and he shoots one little thing into the tank and blows the tank up, and he just walks away. And then they're like, oh my god, and then he just flies back home. When I remember I saw that in the theater, because that was the first one, right? That was the first Marvel movie. That was the first of the new universe, and that's the first time we saw any of the heroes, any of the Avengers come. Any of the future Avengers, we saw him, and it was Iron Man, and he looked like he just walked right out of the page. Like that look, that was the armor that was in the comics at the time. He was designed by an artist named Adi Granov, who they actually hired to be a consultant on the movie. So it's like they just lifted him right from the comics, and it was like, boom, there he is. And I remember in the theater just being like, oh my god, like pissing myself. There's Iron Man and the Avengers are coming. Just freaking out. And yeah, that's it right there, man. Just like, and then the music in the background was just epic, and it was just fucking Iron Man. And I was kind of worried too, because I didn't know, because Iron Man he wasn't like one of the more popular guys if you're going to kick off an Avengers franchise, you wouldn't think Iron Man, right? You would think more Cap or Thor or something. But they picked Iron Man, so I was a little like, I'm not sure how is it gonna work. I like Iron Man, but he wouldn't have been my first choice. And then you see it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. They know what they're doing. The next 20 years are gonna be amazing, and I hope I don't die.
Were you an Iron Man fan prior to the movie or no?
Oh yeah. I've been reading Iron Man. I have been reading Iron Man since 1996. I think is when I started reading Iron Man.
I didn't like Iron Man at all. I hated him. I didn't like Tony Stark, nothing. Until I saw the movie. And then I'm like, instant fan.
Yeah.
Instant. I was like, man, what was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
This is awesome.
Yeah, how could I have been so wrong?
I know.
Wasn't there like
you have to give Robert Downey Jr. the props, though, because I think he's the one that really did the job for it. Because on paper, Tony Stark is a dick and a drunk. And you don't really see him, like you said, you don't see him as being the pivotal person to bring this whole Marvel universe together. And I think Robert Downey Jr. just did an excellent job with the comedy and the acting. He did a really great Stark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but isn't he in real life? Isn't he Tony Stark in real life though? I mean,
oh yeah.
What? He has.
Yeah, he's turned into Tony Stark.
He has, right?
Yeah. What's up, Brian? You were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like in the comics, they go through a long series where he was like dealing with alcohol and stuff. Yeah,
they did. There's one of the best Iron Man stories is called Demon in a Bottle, where he became an alcoholic and he lost his company. He almost lost the suit. He actually gives the suit up to Rhodey, and Rhodey becomes Iron Man for a while. And I think he was fighting Justin Hammer in that series. You have Tony Stark in the comics, who was an alcoholic. He had to recover. He lost a lot. He hit rock bottom, and then he had to come back. And so when they cast Robert Downey Jr., who pretty much did the same thing with drugs and stuff, and he was a hot shot in Hollywood right in the 80s, right? Patrick, you remember all those movies that he was in?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he was a hot shit, and then he got into all kinds of problems, and his career was over. His career was done. No one wanted Robert Downey Jr. For anything. And then that was also another reason why I was kind of iffy on the movie. I'm like, man, Robert Downey Jr., he doesn't do anything. That guy's, but then at the same time, I also knew, I'm like, well, he has that similar background with Tony Stark. Maybe, I don't know, maybe something was there. And yeah, they knew what they were doing, and he connected, and he fit perfectly and became Tony Stark. Now there's no more Robert Downey Jr. Now it's just Tony Stark.
Yeah, so do you think that the Avengers would be as good if Robert Downey Jr. didn't play Iron Man?
No way.
I don't think so either. What about you, John? What do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to say, because I know there was other talented actors attached to the role. Tom Cruise was attached to the role, and I'm sure he would have done a great job because he's Tom Cruise. But would it have been Tony Stark, or would it have just been Tom Cruise playing Tony Stark? That's probably why it wouldn't have been. It probably would have been good, but not this good. Like, no way.
It's probably more believable because of the fact, like you said, he had that background, so he had something to base off. So he knew the recovering alcoholic, the recovering drug addict, and then trying to go ahead and come back from being in a low. I just think that Robert Downey Jr. just if it wasn't for his life experience, he wouldn't have been able to play such a great part. Like you said, Tom Cruise. Yeah, Tom Cruise is great. I mean, I love his movies too, but I don't see him. I can't even imagine him as being. I can see. Seeing Tom Cruise is almost the same thing as telling me Nicolas Cage is going to be that same part.
Right?
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I guess you would see them as, like I said, you would see them as the actors. You would see, oh, that's Tom Cruise, but when you look at Tony Stark, you're like, no, that's Tony Stark. That's Iron Man.
Yeah.
Even though it's Robert Downey Jr. playing, like, no, it's not. It's Tony Stark. That is Tony Stark.
Yeah. If there was any actor in history that could have played Tony Stark other than Robert Downey Jr., who do you guys think it would be? I've got somebody in mind, but I want to see what you guys think. So I think Tom Cruise could have done. He doesn't look like him, right?
Right. He doesn't look like him. He's kind of small. He's probably too good looking. Like more, like I mean, like he's like too like pretty boy looking.
Yeah. The actor that I think that could have done it, he's dead now, obviously. Would have been Clark Gable, Red Butler. Doesn't he look like Tony Stark? Remember from Gone with the Wind? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and he kind of played that type of guy, right? He's all Mr. Cool.
But no, he was amazing. Loved him. Robert Downey Jr., like you said, is Tony Stark for sure. For sure.
So since we did our top 6 real quick, and we were gonna cut it just real quick. So Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. What other comic book characters do you think are on that level?
Captain America.
You think Chris Evans? He's perfect.
Yeah.
What about you, Jesse?
You mean the casting?
Yeah, of any of them, any of the comic book ones.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you're saying, an actor that portrays or embodies the character. I would have to say Wolverine.
Wolverine. Yep. Brian, what do you think? You got one?
I think the new Spider-Man is pretty good. Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Like he has that personality, when the young Spider-Man personality, and the way he talks is kind of like similar to the cartoon version of Spider-Man back in the 80s, I think. That kind of like kid voice, but always talk. It's pretty much the same character as the one from the comic books.
Right.
So I'm liking the new one so far.
Yeah, no, he's great too. I think they did a good job. I'm gonna throw in.
I think Emma Stone played a really good Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw in Patrick Stewart as Professor X.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
hey, I was thinking about, we're talking about actors who could have played. What about Edward Norton? Because he really gets into those parts.
Yeah, but he wasn't good. I didn't think he was good as Bruce Banner though. I didn't like him that much as Bruce Banner. I like this new guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When I was same thing when Incredible Hulk came out, I was cool. I was like, oh, Ed Norton, he's dope. And then when they said he wasn't going to be in Avengers, and I was like, what? And then they brought in Mark Ruffalo, and I like Mark Ruffalo, he's cool. But then when I saw him as Banner, I went, oh shit, yeah, he's better.
Yeah, he's mild mannered. He's the guy.
Yeah, Ed Norton, I think he would have been as Tony Stark. I don't think he could have pulled off the comedic part of it like Robert does. It's like it's just
right?
Yeah, he's more of a dramatic guy. Whereas Robert Downey, it's so natural the way he talks and moves. I don't think Ed Norton could have done that.
The swag.
There you go. Yeah, Ed Norton doesn't have the swag of Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, okay, I got it. Do you think Leonardo DiCaprio could have done it?
Fuck Leo. I don't like it. Fuck yeah, man, Titanic.
He was super close to being Spider-Man back in the day.
Was he?
Yeah, and the first one with the Tobey Maguire one. James Cameron was trying really hard because James Cameron's a huge Spider-Man fan. He was trying really hard to make a Spider-Man movie, and of course he was going to bring along Leo DiCaprio. But the rights were all jacked up back then, and James Cameron eventually moved on. So, but yeah, if James Cameron would have got the job, he would have brought in Leo.
Didn't Leo turn down Star Wars too?
I think he did.
Yeah.
See, he's an idiot.
Anakin, right? He's smart.
Yeah. So we had some honorable mentions for our movie scenes. Brian, what honorable mentions are yours?
I mentioned 4 earlier, but I actually have 5. So I'll just list them off really quick. And so one of them you guys talked about for your top movies is the opening scene for Saving Private Ryan, where they're at the beach.
Yeah.
And they're storming the beach, and so that was really cool. The other one is Jerry Maguire, where
show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. Yeah.
I still don't understand what that means.
But it sounded cool, right?
It sounded cool. I don't
Kwanzaa, man, Kwanzaa.
I didn't get the point. Maybe you guys can explain it to me. But like Cuba Gooding Jr. is telling him to help him make money, right? So I don't know what how that relates to telling his agent to show him the money. So I guess get him a deal. I guess I don't know.
You should look it up in Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
No, it was to make the deal because he needed that money to retire, right? Feed his family. He needed a big deal. That's why he stayed with him. That's why Cuba Gooding Jr. stayed with Tom Cruise.
Yeah. So yeah. Then
over to his friend.
And the other famous line was "Help me, help you," right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Help me,
help me.
help you, help me.
Oh, you had me at hello.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Had me at hello. I forgot about that one.
What about I love black people?
Yeah, John, you have to watch the Batman Lego movie. They show a little bit of Jeremy Maguire.
All right. Yeah, I still gotta get on that one too.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
You gotta see it.
Okay, next one is Pulp Fiction. There's tons of good scenes in there, but the one that I like was when John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson are in a car, and they're just talking about like all the different foods in Europe, and they talk about like the quarter pounder, and they don't have a metric system, so they call it the Royale with cheese, and then so the whole thing was pretty cool. And then he was talking about for French fries they don't use ketchup, they use mayo, and which is all true. So I don't know. I just thought that scene.
No, that's a really cool scene. There's them talking like, and they have a dude in the car that they're gonna kill.
Right, they have him in the trunk.
Yeah, and they're just talking about burgers.
And then the next one is another Rocky movie. Is Rocky 1, just another the training montage. Where he's running up the steps of the museum. If you guys have been to Philly, and you go to the museum, you'll see like people go there and they just run up the steps. And I've tried running it. It's really a lot tougher than it looks when he did it. So it took me like probably a minute to run up there. It took him like 10 seconds to run up those steps. So I don't know if they fast forwarded the film or he was that quick. My last one is Monty Python, the opening scene where they're the two guys are like approaching the castle, and the guy behind them is making those fake horse sounds. So that was pretty funny.
With the coconuts, right?
Yeah, with the coconuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're gonna do this, but in that movie that's coming out, Ready Player One, there's supposedly like in the book, there's one part where the guy has to recreate the entire movie. So I don't know if they're gonna show that in the movie or not, but that was pretty cool. Like it was there's a lot of 80 references in that movie. So when they mentioned that opening scene, I thought it was pretty funny.
All right, Patrick, what's your honorable mentions?
The end scene in Gran Torino. So it's that Clint Eastwood movie. He's gonna die. He's coughing. He's dying from cancer. He's spitting up blood, and then he goes to that neighborhood, and he calls out all the gangsters, and then he reaches for something which they think is a gun, and then they all shoot him. And there are eyewitnesses, so they all go to prison. You guys remember that scene at the end of Gran Torino?
Yeah. He was pulling out a matchbox or something, right? Like a lighter.
Yeah, I really like that scene.
The whole movie was this good.
Not the scene where he locked the kid in the basement.
He was horrible. Meow.
Was that your only one, Patrick?
No, I've got there's another scene, kind of like the Inglourious Bastard scene at the beginning. No Country for Old Men. When the guy goes into the store and the clerk, the old man, he flips a coin.
Yeah.
And the old guy doesn't know he's flipping the coin, and you're like, dude, don't shoot this guy.
Yeah.
Come on, cool. Come on, and don't do this. That's what I was saying while I was watching the movie.
Yeah.
That was pretty intense, man. I don't know. That was it. Those were the two.
All right, Jesse, what are yours?
Kind of like Brian, I have a few that's kind of pretty hard to decide which ones not to put in the top 10. One of the bigger ones of my honorable mentions is The Shining, where Jack Nicholson says, "Here's Johnny."
Yeah.
That scene is just fucking scary as fuck. And mostly when I saw it was as a kid. So I was like, oh, wow. I mean, the whole movie's just crazy, but that part right there is just like, just the pivotal point where he's just nuts. Next one, it's kind of cheesy, but it's Star Trek 2. When Spock and Kirk are talking, he sacrifices himself for the ship, and have that whole scene, that whole romance scene. It's like, you are my friend, and he does the whole Vulcan sign and everything, and then he dies. And it's like, hey, what the fuck? Spock just died. It's like, no, there's got to be a way, Scotty, beam the motherfucker out. Come on, do something. And there's nothing we can do. It's like, what the fuck? Which obviously to obviously number 3 where they bring him back. And it's like, oh, what the fuck? That whole scene just sucks. But it was a good scene at the time. The other scene I have is in the movie Big, where they have the piano scene.
Him and his boss, right?
Yeah. They're just fucking I mean, the first thing when I thought about it is like, holy shit, there's a huge piano you can just play music on? You know, at the time, I was like the big shit I saw when I was a kid too. And that scene was pretty cool. And kind of in the same genre, Home Alone, kind of the whole, you know, when he's trying to shave and he puts the aftershave and it's like, you know, he yells. That scene was kind of funny too. But I think the best scene, honorable mention scene, is from Howard the Duck. It's when Leah Thompson is half naked and they have that whole dialogue about having interspecies sex. That's like the best sex scene ever. Ever. I mean, Leah Thompson come on. You know, she's not as hot now, but, you know, back in the days when she was on her prime.
Her or Emma Stone for you?
No, Emma Stone is contemporary. She's a new Emma. Oh, and then Phoebe Gates. So it's Phoebe Gates, Leah Thompson, and Emma Stone. And then now we're gonna have to pick somebody else.
All right, so I'll move on to mine. Because I have my honorable mention. I have the same thing on the Star Wars, the I Am Your Father, the Darth Vader. The only reason I didn't put it on my top was that because when I watched it, I already knew, you know, so it was already, you know, I was already a little older and everyone knew by that point, you know, so I already knew going into it. So it didn't have the same impact on me as like Patrick, right? You were just like, holy shit. Well, I already knew that part. I mean, it's still a great scene, but I already knew saw it coming. So that's why it's on my honorable mentions. This one's, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to say every battle scene in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause like, I mean, those were game changing battle scenes. Like after Lord of the Rings, everybody tried to do scenes like that, right? Where that massive armies trying to fight each other. That all, you know, started with Lord of the Rings.
There are a lot of good scenes in good fights in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. And then my other honorable mention is the I See Dead People. The ending of Sixth Sense. When he tells when he tells
that was a good scene.
Yeah, when he tells Bruce Willis that he's dead. Oh man, I remember being in the theater just like, what? And my jaw dropped, like, no way. And then I started thinking the whole movie, like, oh, it all makes sense now. You know, that movie came out like in 99, I think. And the internet had just started getting going. So same thing, the spoilers weren't everywhere like it is now. Like now it would have been spoiled instantly. But man, that scene, didn't see it coming a mile away. Like, holy crap. Such a great twist. And that movie was good. That was a good movie, but man, that scene at the end, boom, that movie just next level. So yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Hey, do you think that whole shit moment when you see the Sixth Sense is at par with Primal Fear? Did you guys see Primal Fear? When you find out that
Gordon?
Yeah. And when you find out that he really is guilty, when there's that conversation between him and God, what is his name?
Gerbo Man, the guy from Richard Gere.
Yeah, Richard Gere, exactly. When they're talking and then you fucking realize, holy shit, you know, he's fucking guilty. He did kill the priest. I mean, I don't know. Did you guys get that sense? I mean, to me, it's up there with the Sixth Sense, where it's like, holy shit, and then you just realize everything from the movie. It's like, oh.
No, but that you know, that was a good scene. His whole character was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys knew this. I don't know if I told you guys this, but Primal Fear was the first movie I ever tried out for.
Oh, what? No, I didn't know that.
So, this is when I first started, and I had never gone to LA for an audition before. And my agent called me and said, you have an audition for some movie. He didn't tell me what it was. He didn't give me the sides, which would be the audition script for me to look at. So he said, just show up, and they'll give you everything you need. And I had not gone to any classes or anything really yet. So I did a little scene study. So what happened is I get to the studio, and it's actually for the part that Edward Norton did. Okay, just so you guys know. So the casting director comes out, and she says, Patrick? And I'm like, yeah. She's all, have you seen the script or the scene yet? And I said, no. So then she says, okay, here's a copy. She gives me the script, and she's all, okay, I'll give you a few minutes to take a look at this. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to look at. So I start looking at the script. I turn the first page. I read it. Don't have a clue what I'm reading. So about 8 minutes later, she comes out and she says, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So then she gives me the sides, and they're highlighted, right? And so then she looks at me and she's all, "Can you do a Southern accent?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I sure can try." That's exactly how I said it. So then she gives me the sides, and in our scene study class, what you can do is we can read ahead. You can read like 3 or 4 lines ahead, but I can still look at you. So I glance down at the sides, right, that I'm reading, and I look at the casting director and I read it. So all I remember seeing is that this guy is a nice country boy with a Southern accent, right? And so I start reading it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to ad-lib here. It's like, yeah, I'm a nice country boy and everything. And all of a sudden, 4 lines down, it says, "Suddenly turns evil." And I'm like, what? Suddenly turns evil? What's going on here? So I'm thinking, dude, you have about 5 seconds. You got to make a choice. All right? So then I think of The Exorcist. So I remember there was a couch behind me, and it says turns evil. So I turn in from this nice Southern country boy. I fall back on the couch. I roll my eyes back. I start humming like, Then I look at the scene, and then the next 4 lines are complete expletives, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. So what I do is I jump over the table to the casting director. I take my hands and I actually put it around her throat and start squeezing her throat and start yelling at her that I'm going to kill her and all these expletives, right? And then I realize what I'm doing. I break out of character and I look at her and I'm like, "Is this okay?" And she's all, "Yeah, go ahead." And then I continue. I put my hands back around her throat and continue. Needless to say, she's never called me ever since that.
Maybe you weren't rough enough with her. Maybe Edward Norton choked her out.
Yeah, so how's it compared to? I didn't watch the movie, so how's it compared to like how Edward Norton did it?
It was very different.
Awesome. Dude, I had no idea what I was even doing. This guy clearly he knew the character and everything, and he created the stuttering. Right, he was stuttering in it.
Yeah.
And then the way he switched it, no, he just had this. You couldn't tell, but when he turned evil, you could tell that he was just vicious. You know, it was just a good way. That's why he got the part, man. That's why he's Edward Norton. That's why he could do Fight Club after that. He's awesome.
That's pretty funny. Almost had it, dude. You almost had it.
Hey, at least you could say it was between me and Edward Norton.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man.
All right, guys. That's we're gonna stop here. We did our top 5. We did our honorable mentions, and Patrick told a killer story. Stay tuned for our next podcast. That'll be part 2, and that'll reveal our top 5. And I think everyone's got their number 1, right? Everyone has their number 1 favorite scene.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we all got that ready to go. So that'll be our next podcast. So stay tuned for that. Until then, we'll see you guys later.
All right. Later, guys.